The battlefield has changed, and as a mage main, I start to feel like everything is turning against us. I'm not gonna lie. Let's kick things off by looking at what every mage main is up against right now. And I'm going to start the comparison with the marksmen that get seasonal talents, that is basically long range warfare. Even right now in our season we have long range warfare, which honestly I start thinking to not actually pick, because the moment I fill my hospital with the marksmen, since they're tier 4 I don't heal them, and I start thinking maybe it's going to be a good idea to get one extra warrant. But the marksman is getting huge advantage with long range warfare. This is so far all the people know that, but there is some trend that arise around the marksman mains, and this is they no longer want to have long range warfare, and I'm going to explain you why. Just the battlefield is full with infantry, so why are you going to need long range warfare and reduce by 20% your base stats? This is your physical attack. From this to have this 20% and all the boosts that you're having on the marksmen. But still, this is just one of the plays that I think marksmen is basically become like mages, and marksmen is having the biggest attack in Call of Dragons. There is no other troop is on the first place, marksmen, and getting long range warfare, the only advantages the mages are having. So you know, I'm like, okay, we're going to have seasonal talents. Last 2 seasons we didn't have seasonal talent, so you know it's a little tricky, because are we going to have it, are we not going to have it? Nobody actually know where we're going to get seasonal talents or not. But still, this is a boost for the marksmen, which is, you know, against mages, and marksmen counter mages. Cavalry also get a lot of true buffs. Obviously, for the people who don't know, back in the days the cavalry was having just this 1000 rage. Right now they get a violent for each attack received from a ranged legion. It's going to do up to 75% more damage for 10 seconds, just enough to trigger the spell 2 times, because the moment you hit the ranged legion you're going to, you know, trigger your rage skills. And since the majority of the cavalry legions have pretty decent rage regeneration speed, you're going to trigger 2 times the spell in 10 seconds. So, you know, this is crazy. And also reducing the damage by 80% when they're doing the charges. It's like, as a rage main, I'm like, mage main, I'm like, brother. But this is not only cavalry, we also have the infantry. I know some of the information that I present is something that most of my audience know, but this is just the starting part. This is the starting part. Just to remember how the troops, to remember to everybody how the troops get buffs, but mages receive nothing, absolutely nothing. Here we have 50% chance to get this stack up to 40 to 8 stacks, which is basically 40% reducing the range damage. Now mages is not counting that much over the normal attack, but over the skills, and yeah, infantry get absolutely crazy boost, which as a mage man put me in this situation where I'm like, I already invest too much in the mages. I already invest too much. Lilia Awakened, Bertrand Awakened, Tohar Awakened, all of them 6-star. Sindrian is not a mage, but you know, I'll awake him. Thea is maybe the only flexible hero that I actually have that can serve me well. She's Awakened and also 6-star. And I start thinking Thunderlin also is trying to make her Awakened. And I start thinking, okay, they get the range, so it's just getting hard, you know, it's just getting hard for the mages. So I start thinking, okay, what we can do in this situation. We see the problem. Here is the thing, and this is maybe a very good life tip I can actually give you. Some life tips from your Burgas, and when you see a problem and you want to open the topic about some specific problem that you think is a problem, some people may think it's not actually a problem, but if for some reason you end up in agreement that specific thing is a problem, you better have a solution. You better have a solution when you open this topic. For example, it can be, you know, some like the troops right now. So what I can actually suggest is giving some rage regeneration. Now, most of the troops, except marksmen, but they get long range warfare, which I can actually add in the whole picture. But marksmen is having, for example, ballista, you sit 10% more damage if you sit for 4 seconds, which is extremely hard, I'm not gonna lie. For me, the best marksman is actually the cows from Wilderberg, but anyway, he's getting something in extra. From long range warfare. We also have cavalry. He's getting something in extra by doing the rush. Is getting valiant, is getting reducing the damage, is getting more damage. We also have infantry, which so far was, you know, they also have a charge. Where is the charge? Oh my god, yeah. March speed increase when approaching the target. Basically a charge after blah blah blah, 75% march speed. And in same time they have ironclad. The point here is all these troops is actually getting something in extra. It's like two buffs. Mages are still having just a single one, and this I can point the Vestos. The Vestos is just having this 20% more HP for 15 seconds and every 3 seconds, which is a pretty decent buff, I'm not gonna lie. I run like one Vesto and 3 Celestials right now and 1 Marksman Legion at the moment because I have long range warfare. But at the end of the day, yeah, all these things matter. So I was thinking maybe something like an extra spell is going to be for mages, something like rage regeneration, because by default the mages are counting on their rage skills. We don't care about the normal attack we're doing, we're counting on our rage skills. Lilia to hit hard, Valiant to hit hard, Thunderlin, etc. Now of course I'm expecting a question, and you know, I saw this question couple times, and the question is, but Burgas, half of Call of Dragons players are playing mages. Well, this is mostly because in season 1, season 1 is for mages. Are the best pick. Mages in season 1 is the best pick, but going over the seasons, mages just slow down a lot. I'm mage main. I stay mage main because I already invest in those heroes. There's already investments from my side over the heroes, which is Awakened, 6 stars. Yo, I didn't believe, but you know, having these stars is also crazy work. To make this one the next level is crazy work. So you have to be careful with even with your medals. There's just so many investments. So yeah, I'm mage main because I already invest a lot, but with blinking infantry and so many cavalry on the battlefield that can fast strike as a marksman. I mean, also marksmen can fast strike because they have the mage range. We're basically, and they counter mages. I start feeling that everything is against mages. Having, you know, especially against, currently I was playing against SCG, they bring a lot of infantry, and all of them just blink between my legions. And you know, the artifact blink I think is actually giving something in extra. When you do the blinking, immediately teleport range. Your legion get a rampage, damage do 21% for 4 seconds, and of course this can go to 24%, from 21 to 24. So you see how the infantry get boosted. Also Gorish immediately is also boosting by a lot the damage. Physical attack bonus 50% is crazy, and the pets and everything, it just make the things absolutely crazy. It's make the things absolutely crazy when the infantry blink. You saw on my channel how we're working with BTX, but we're not alone. especially with cavalry. We have huge cavalry that basically destroy all the enemy marches. I mean, especially with the teleport play, but this don't mean the rest of the alliances is not going to do the same. They're going to do the same. The top alliances are doing that. So I'm leaving with my mages, trying to somehow survive against these tactics. Infantry, also marksmen. Also marksmen can, from the, at least back in the days, you see how the marksmen come to close to your legion, and you can target them and at least do 1-2 hits before they actually go that close, so they can start firing up at you. But right now they have the mage distance, so you know, I'm starting to really think everything is against mages. I mean, this is at least my feeling. Let me know your in the comments below. And I just want to say a couple words about the suggestion I give. Suggestion maybe that I can give is improvement will be something like rage regeneration boost for mages. Maybe the attack can be boosted or march speed, but yeah, lately it's so hard to be a mage. This is the feeling. Or maybe I really hope generation 4 mages to be very good. So far I'm not very happy with the latest mages. And yeah, this is the other topic I want to open from the season 1, where the majority of the people, even spenders, are going with the mages. Lilia Velen is dominating in the season 1. But after this, you're presented with a single target, Bertrand Tocher, which, yo, they're giving a lot of merits to me. But yeah, Thunderlin was good pick, but Talea, the sheep, didn't actually find her space. She's going to be maybe use it. I'm using Tail on her place, and there is no place for her. And I already invest like some skills. It's like 5-5-1-1. Maybe it was a good idea to be something like 5-5-5-1. But if I go with 5-5 and 1, maybe it's going to be good idea to actually awake her. But we're in the battle. Look at these things. We're in the battle. Legion has 10% chance to get shield factor 150, which is, I don't know, you know, this hero, the game tried to make a synergy between the new heroes. You're going to see it, obviously. So this shield is more like supporting for the Thunderlin, but it's way too weak for me. For single target so far, I actually start getting happy with her. Because a lot of infantry on the battlefield. Boy, oh boy, a lot of infantry. But still, I'm not so happy with the mage legions. I think definitely they need improvement. They have the lowest attack in. Maybe the infantry have the lowest attack. After this is Thunderlin, and the different, not Thunderlin, the mages. The difference between the second on attack, because there is a place number 1 for marksmen. After this is cavalry, mages, and infantry. Between mages and cavalry, the gap is huge. Between the cavalry and marksmen is not that big, but cavalry mages is big from point of normal attack. So yeah, maybe we can think about something in this direction. Somehow those mages to make mages to be great again or something like this. And I have huge hopes. I have huge hopes for generation 4 mages to be, we get presented with something that really is going to give value. Because yeah, there is a lot of people in situation like mine, they level up or awake some heroes and they're a little stuck like this. Because if I switch to marksmen, I have like 2 awakened marksmen, this Sindri and Frygar, and nothing else. Even in the season 1, where is Nico Kinara? Where is my little boy Nico? Nico still needs some work actually to be awakened. It's like 80 more of this. I can actually awake Nico, but you know, it's a season 1 hero. Why should I invest my universal tokens on the season 1? I'm saving them for generation 4 mages, but yeah, I just wanted to see, you know, something for mages. Not something crazy, but at least to see that now Vestos is a good one. It's a good one. Celestials is better, you know. Celestials, if you run with Celestials, you're fine. But Celestials is also extremely hard to actually sit on one place for 4 seconds to actually get 5% more magic attack. I mean, come on. we're non-stop left, right, left, right, left, right. So yeah, just wanted to share my opinion in this video. I really hope you guys enjoy my opinion. Let me know your in the comments below. And yeah, like the video if you like it, subscribe if you're new to this channel, become a member if you want to directly support me and my work. And I wish you a great day and see you in the next video.